and therefore, by all of the preceding measures, we must regard this facility as one of preeminent magnitude for Erie County, and therefore worthy of serious consideration by all concerned. The fact that in addition to this, it is proposed that the facility be juxtaposed with residential neighborhoods, as we've heard, in an environmental justice area, including many schools and daycare establishments where members of sensitive groups may be found, simply underscores the American Lung Association's concern.
The potential impact of pollution on human health has guided environmental legislation and regulation from the beginning of federal and state environmental programs. The Clean Air Act requires EPA to set national ambient air quality standards for pollutants considered harmful to public health and the environment.
The American Lung Association of Pennsylvania draws the simple conclusions from the foregoing, not only that Erie County already has a serious air pollution problem, but also that there are tens of thousands of county residents currently at particular risk from exposure to air pollutants, such as ozone smog and fine particle pollution.
As we've heard from previous testimony and from our own research, we are very aware of the quality of the environment within Erie and are proud of what has been done over the course of the past years. With that being said, the board clearly recognized several factors before it made its decision to actively look at the plant proposal.
In Erie's case, the county earned passing grades from the American Lung Association for ground level ozone smog, a C, and for long-term average concentrations of fine particle pollution. However, given that the EPA recently strengthened the ozone standard, it is anticipated that future reports will show failing grades for Erie County reflecting this change. But most significantly, the report showed that Erie County posted a grade of F for short-term, 24-hour measures of fine particle pollution, ranking the county at 9th worst in Pennsylvania of 21 with grades, and 46th worst in the nation of 591 graded counties.
Secondary standards set limits to protect public welfare, including protection against decreased visibility, damage to animals, crops, vegetations, and buildings.
And finally, that tires contain around 20 different metals, most of which have negative effects on human, aquatic life, and animals.
The emission limitations proposed for the tire plant are enormously liberal, exceeding the present emissions of the worst polluting county industries combined.
These 6 principal pollutants or criteria pollutants are carbon monoxide, lead, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter 10, particulate matter 2.5 microns, ozone, and sulfur dioxide.
Carbon monoxide is familiar to us all. The emissions of carbon monoxide from the county's 10 worst industrial polluters combined amount to 602 tons annually. To this, the tire plant alone would add 690 tons more, thus greater than doubling the current amount.
There is no estimate of the emissions of carbon dioxide. That is not a regulated subject. There is no emission estimate given in the plan or approval application for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. PAHs are a subset of volatile organic compounds, VOCs, and ERE has estimated that 27.5 tons per year of VOCs will be emitted per year.
Lead. There is no safe level of lead in the body, as determined by the World Health Organization. Even very low exposure levels of lead compromise children's later intellectual development and lifetime achievement. No threshold for these effects has been demonstrated. Nitrogen oxides are pollutants that in themselves are suspected of causing genetic mutations. Moreover, they react with water vapor and organic particles in the air to form ozone and nitric acid, 2 potent lung and airway irritants. Again, the county's 10 worst industrial emitters combined generate 68 tons of nitrogen oxides annually. The tire plant's projected limitation is 354 tons annually, consequently increasing the current figure more than 6-fold. And again, here on the left, current level of nitrogen oxides. On the right, nitrogen oxides after the tire plant. One such pollutant is invisible particulate matter, smaller than 10 microns in diameter. A micron is 1/1000th of a millimeter. The danger of these invisibly small particles exceeds that of larger visible particles. The micron-sized particles remain suspended long enough to traverse the larger airways.
Since these fine particles are tiny enough to penetrate the body's natural defense systems, this means that when one inhales these particles, they become embedded deep within the lungs, as Dr. Velasquez showed us, where some part components have been shown to enter the bloodstream.
And then become impacted in the alveoli, the small terminal sacs where the oxygen is absorbed from the air into the blood. They make this one-way trip into the alveoli where they become trapped, causing lung damage and other pathologies.
Thirdly, that there are potential health issues associated with the proposed plant. And as we have heard in testimony and as we have found for ourselves, these health issues are extremely serious.
The concentration-response relation between fine particles and mortality is quite linear across the entire range of exposure.
In a 2002 Environmental Health Perspectives review, we found that the magnitude of the association between particulate pollution and daily deaths suggests that controlling fine particulate pollution would result in thousands of fewer early deaths per year, and this is throughout the country.
Hundreds of peer-reviewed studies in mainstream medical journals have linked particle pollution to reduced lung function.
A comprehensive evaluation of the research findings provides persuasive evidence that exposure to fine particulate air pollution has adverse effects on cardiopulmonary health. In that same article, since 1997, there has been a substantial amount of research that added to the evidence that breathing combustion-related fine particulate air pollution is harmful to human health.
Again, the World Health Organization states there is no safe level for particulate matter emissions.
The point being with this, that the fine particulates, which are not regulated at the present time, have the longest amount of time in the atmosphere, and that atmospheric particulate has been linked with adverse effects on human health.
The risk of death from lung cancer increases by 8%. The risk of death from heart disease increases by 6%, and the risk of death from all causes increases by 4%.